Hey guys, it's Sandra. I love Booktober. I am in the middle of doing laundry right now, washing the sheets as you can see. So I figured why not do a quick video. For today's video, I'm going to do a October or Booktober. Is that a thing? It probably is a thing. I'm such a noob, I really don't know. But I'm going to do a Booktober recommendation. So I have 3 book recommendations for you to read this month. These are all books that I've read, obviously. And let's get to it. Book 1. There would not be an autumn or October reading recommendation without Stephen King on it. So today I have Salem's Lot, which I believe was his second published novel ever after Carrie. This one is about vampires. It doesn't explicitly say that anywhere, so I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but it is about vampires. Not the sparkly kind, definitely not about the sexy, dangerous Charlene Harris type of vampires. This one is about bone-chilling, creepy, sinister vampires. So from the back cover, Ben Mears has returned to Jerusalem's Lot in the hopes that living in an old mansion along the subject of town lore will help him cast out his own devils and provide inspiration for his new book.
We all know that Stephen King loves to write authors as the protagonist.
I had never heard of this book, but when 2 young boys venture into the woods, only one comes out alive. Mears begins to realize that there may be something sinister at work and that his hometown is under siege by forces of darkness far beyond his control. So when I picked it up, I was very pleasantly surprised to read this. It had everything I wanted. It was very suspenseful. It was creepy. It was very much Halloween feel to it. So I definitely recommend this one. I think it did have a good ending. If you're the type of person that needs to be feeling warm and fuzzies at the end of a story, especially a dark story, then I think you can handle this one. Okay, moving along. This is a book that I read earlier this year. It's one that I saw floating around on Bookstagram, The Whisper Man by Alex North. I have never read an Alex North book before, but I won't lie to you. When I read the inside of the dust jacket, the little rhyme, if you leave a door half open, soon you'll hear the whisper spoken. If you're lonely, sad, and blue, the Whisper Man will come for you. Anytime you involve children, whether it's a horror movie or book, it's going to be that much scarier, in my opinion. This one is after the sudden death of his wife, Tom Kennedy believes a fresh start will help him and his young son Jake heal. A new beginning, a new house, a new town in Featherbank. But the town has a dark past. 20 years ago, a serial killer abducted and murdered 5 residents. Until Frank Carter was finally caught, he was nicknamed the Whisper Man, for he would lure his victims out by whispering at their windows at night. Just as Tom and Jake settle into their new home, a young boy vanishes. His disappearance bears an unnerving resemblance to Frank Carter's crimes, reigniting old rumors that he preyed with an accomplice. Now, detectives Amanda Beck and Pete Willis must find the boy before it is too late, even if that means Pete has to revisit his great foe in prison, the Whisper Man. And then Jake begins acting strangely. He hears a whispering at his window. This one, there were a few times in reading this book that I legitimately had my skin crawling and was terrified. I was reading this at nighttime. It will chill you to the bone. This one does not have a happy ending. It has a resolved ending, but it's not what I define as being a happy ending. In fact, I don't really know how I feel about the ending. It's kind of dark. It is dark. Not kinda. It is dark. If you're okay with that kind of thing, give it a read, but it will definitely make you jump at times if that's what you're looking for in a book. It is very fast paced. It jumps from the points of view of several different people, including the dad, his young son, the baddie, and the detectives. It's very fast paced. It's very interesting. It'll keep your attention. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about the ending. It wasn't for me, but it will scare you. It is one of those types of suspenseful mysteries that you can definitely figure out who the bad guy is. But it's really dark. It's not for everybody. But I saw it making the rounds on Bookstagram. It's probably made the rounds on Booktube. It's a good Halloween story. Anyway, next. This one came out last fall, and I loved it so much. You guys, I have had to retape this part like 3 times now, 4 times, 5 times. I don't know. I've lost count because I can't get the fucking microphone correct. I don't know if it's because I have the setting too high or too low, not close enough to my mouth, way too close. So I'm just going to hold it like this. I tried testing it out and it seemed like it was okay. So I'm going to try and do this final segment. If you had your volume cranked all the way up, I apologize if this last segment blasts your eardrums. But okay, let's start this over. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. She has only come on my radar like the last year, but I absolutely love her storytelling style. Prior to Ninth House, I had read her Grishaverse novels and short stories, and she has a really unique way of storytelling. She can turn fairy tales kind of upside down and set them in the Grishaverse and then put a very dark twist to them, and I just really, really like how she did those. So she always kind of sets the tone for whatever story she's telling. It's pure entertainment, and I love it. Whenever it was announced that she was having her first adult urban fantasy debut, so I kept hearing Ninth House was about pampered Ivy Leaguers and secret societies and dark magic and cults, and I'm really just not interested in those types of things. It's not something that would ever jump off the shelf at me and make me pick a book out. I kept hearing really good things about it, and it helps when Stephen King says that it is the best fantasy novel that he has read in years because it's about real people. Bardugo's imaginative reach is brilliant, and this story, full of shocks and twists, is impossible to put down. When Stephen King gives you a shout out like that, it's probably worth a read. I like Stephen King's style of writing. I appreciate his storytelling style. That finally sold me on it. So I read this one last autumn, loved the story. It captured me from the very first sentence. And then that very last sentence was such a cliffhanger, but it made me so excited and anticipating the next book. So whether that is 2021 or 2022, I can't wait to get the next book in this series. Darlington was one of my favorite characters, and I have to find out what's happening next. So, with that said, I don't want to give too many spoilers about what this book is about, but the protagonist's name is Galaxy Stern. She goes by Alex. She has had a very rough upbringing, drug dealers, and very tragic events that have happened out of that. There are some horrific things that have happened in her past that include a supernatural sexual assault scene, which was really hard to read. But this book, it can trigger some people. It's set at a college campus, so you know that there are going to be sexual assault type of situations happening that you might want to avoid if you're sensitive about that sort of thing. I'm okay with the dark. I've always been okay with the dark. I appreciated Bardugo kind of shining a light on those types of things that are so predominant in today's college campuses. The thing about Alex Stern is she has the ability to see the dead, and so this follows her and haunts her, and that is why she is kind of tapped to get a full ride to Yale to find out more about these secret societies. These murders are happening, and they want her help in kind of cracking what's going on. So that kind of sets the tone for this. And let me tell you, it just like it grips you and it takes you on a ride, and I really, really loved it. I have to say, Miss Leigh Bardugo, Ninth House, that would be my third and final recommendation if you're going to do some Booktober reading. So let's recap here, and hopefully you can hear me. We have Ninth House. We had The Whisper Man by Alex North. Again, oof, the ending, I don't know. And then King, Salem's Lot, because we need some vampires up in October. If you like this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, share. I do post videos every Monday and Thursday, so check for the next one and see you later. Bye!